learning finance algebra, we are going to be covering 8.8, which covers stock splits. So a couple of vocabulary. First is outstanding shares. When they talk about outstanding shares, they're talking about the total number of shares that a corporation has issued. The next one is market cap. It's short for market capital. And this is the total value. So when you see value, think total monetary value of all outstanding shares. Now, a stock split, there's a stock split or a reverse stock split. But in either way, the number of shares change. Sorry, there should be no S there. And the price is adjusted so that the total value remains the same. So there's some formulas they use that help calculate your stock split. So post-split for an A-B split, when we're wanting to calculate our post-split shares, we take whatever they've said, a 2 for 1 or a 4 for 5, and we're going to set it up as a ratio and multiply it by our pre-split shares. If we're talking about share price, then we will flip that, and now it's B over A, because you're increasing your shares while decreasing the price. So we're going to do several examples together. Hopefully, will assist you on your homework. Yesterday, the Rockville Corporation instituted a 2 for 1, meaning that for every share or stock that you hold, you're going to get 2 for each one. Before the split, the share price was $63.44, and the corporation had 2.3 billion shares outstanding. So part A, what was the pre-split market cap? Now remember, market cap refers to the total value. So they just told us that each share was $63.44 times 2.3 billion. So 2.3 billion would be 2.3, and then there should be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is hundreds, thousands, millions. The 2 is your billions. So you would multiply this out, and I get that the total value is $145,912,000,000. So be careful with all those zeros. What was the post-split? So in part A, they are asking for the pre-split value. What is the post-split number of shares? So I'm going to take my, it says there were 2.3 billion shares. And I'm going to multiply that. This is a 2 for 1. 2 for 1. So I'm multiplying that by A over B. It's this setup here. The first number over the second number. And that gives me 4,600,000,000 shares. So their shares doubled. It went from 2.3 billion to 4.6. What was the post-split market price? So please note, for the shares, we do first number over second number. But for the price, I reverse that. So I have 63.44. Instead of 2 over 1, I'm cutting it in half. So the shares doubled, the price cut in half. They should move in the opposite direction. And so I'm technically dividing this by 2. So now the price is $31.72 per share. Next one. Suppose that a corporation has a market cap, remember this is their total value, of 97 billion with 450 million outstanding shares. Calculate your price per share. So to calculate price per share, we're simply going to divide. And I'm going to show you a little trick here. And then I'm dividing by 450 million. So when I divide this, I don't like to enter any more than I have to. So these zeros are going to cancel each other. And so I'm only going to enter what's left, 9,700 divided by 45. And so I get that the value per share is $215.56. So I did the nearest cent, so I went to the nearest hundredth. Next one. Tellem instituted a 5-for-1 split, meaning that you got 5 shares per one that you already own. After the split, she owned 1860 shares. So how many shares did she own before? Okay, so she got a 5-for-1 times whatever shares she owned to equal 1860. Now, I don't really need the 5/1, right? It's just 5x. 5 times however many shares she had equals 1860. So to solve, I would, because I set this up A over B. Okay, that's where I'm getting the 5/1, and it says right here 5/1. Divide by 5, and she had 372 shares. And you could check your work. 372 times 5 is 1860. Next one, Patterson's Appliances was considering a 2-for-3 reverse split. Now, in this case, that means that if you had 3 shares, now you're only going to have 2. Okay, so it's you're going to have less shares, but they'll be worth more money. So a reverse split, and I'll put that up here. Should have left room. A reverse stock split. Shares is reduced, price is increased. So it moves in the opposite direction as just a regular stock split. And a regular stock split, and I should have put that on page 1. In a regular stock split, the shares increase and your price decreases. But the total value will always remain the same. So if the pre-split market cap was $634 million, what would the post-split cap be? So we're simply going to take $634 million and times it. Now, we are talking about market cap, and so I want you to pay attention. For shares, we do A over B. For share price, we do B over A. I do the second number over the first number. So because we're talking about the price or the value, I'm going to multiply 3 over 2. And so that gives me 951 million. Oh, whoops. This was a trick question. The market cap will remain the same. It'll be 634 million. So let me explain. No matter what kind of split you do, the total value remains the same. Number 5, suppose that before a stock split, a share was selling for X dollars. After the stock split, the price was 2X over $3 per share. What was the stock split ratio? Well, I know it's A over B times X. So they're telling me 2 over 3 times X. So the stock split ratio was a 2-for-3. Just the numbers they provided us with. All right, next one, number 6. They're executing a 5-for-4 split. At that time, he owned 553 shares. The price was $55.60 before the split. After the split, he received a check for a fractional part of the share. What was the amount of that check? So let's start with, this is a 5-for-4. So he has 553 shares times, now remember when it comes to the number of shares, we do the first over the second, A over B. So 5/4. And that gives me 691.25 shares. To find the amount, I would then have to figure out what happened to the price. So 55.60, I'm going to multiply the reverse, 4 over 5. So remember, the number of shares increases, the price decreases. Okay, so if I multiply this, I get 44.48. So the value of the amount of check he would get was $691.25. He gets that see, this is your fractional part. So 0.25 times 44.48 equals the amount he received. So 0.25 times 44.48, he got a check for $11.12. Number 7. Yesterday, Tensor executed a 2-for-1 split. Jamie was holding 500 shares worth $34.12. What was the total value of her shares before the split? So real simple, 500 times the cost per share, and that gives me $17,060. How many shares did she hold after the split? Well, it'd be 500 times A, the first number, over the second. So now she holds 1,000 shares, doubles the shares. What was the post-split price? Well, the shares double, but the price cuts in half. And so her cost per share is $17.06 per share. What was the total value? Now remember, the total value or her market cap shouldn't change. So now her stock is worth half as much, but she has double the amount of shares. So she still has the same value as before. Notice what she had valued before and after are the same. Next one. On May 30th, Universe Incorporated announced a 5-for-2 split. Before the split, the corporation had 340 million shares at a market value of $73.25 per share. So how many shares were outstanding after the split? So 340 million, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, times 5 over 2 gives me 850 million shares. Part B, what was the post-split? So remember, you take the price and now reverse it times 2 over 5. And I get a cost of $29.30 per share. Show that the split was a monetary non-event. Now, if you multiply the original number of shares times the price, that equals the same as the new number of shares times the price. So because the post and pre-split market cap are the same. That is why it's a monetary non-event. No money was exchanged. The number of shares went up, the price went down. They have the same equivalent value. It'd be like 2 loaves of bread for 10 or 1 for 5. Did I say that right? 2 for 5 or 1 for 10. There, that makes more sense. 2 for 5 or 1 for 10. It's the same amount of money that you pay. Number 9. This is a reverse split. So part A, this is a 2-for-5 reverse split. The pre-split price was $3.40. The number of shares outstanding was Y. How many shares did Donna hold after the split? Well, it was a 2-for-5 times the number of shares that she owned. So that is that first part. The post-split price would be 5/2 times $3.40, which is $8.50. So that's the second part. This is the first part. What was the post-split number of outstanding shares? Well, it would be 2/5 times Y, and the market cap would still be $8.50 Y. Number 10. After a 5-2 stock split, Laura owned X shares of Scroy Co. stock. Each share is worth $16 after the split. So when it comes to the money, so 2/5 of Y equals $16. So you do B over A. So to solve this, to solve for Y, I would multiply both sides by 5/2. I'll be done in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So then I get Y equals $40.